if you are chasing after this dream, this belief that you know is in you, this is something that you know is in your heart. Even if you've tried to do something else, this thing is still stuck with you.
Won't go away.
Go for it.
If you have a dream, go for it. But make sure God is the one that's giving you that purpose and that dream.
Your gifts will make room for you. Check in with God and understand that he made you for the thing that he put into your heart. So it cannot not fail unless you stop it. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Today for Tomorrow podcast. My name is Martel.
Pastor Rod.
And today we want to talk about DreamKillers.
Say it, DreamKillers.
DreamKillers. Do you want to start us off?
I guess I will, but I know you got something on your mind. I can just see it in your face. You know who some of them DreamKillers are. Throughout life, well, first let me start off with my first dream of what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a race car driver.
Nice.
Now, I grew up, just from a very little boy. I love cars. I had slot car sets. I used to watch, they call it NASCAR now, but it used to be called stock car racing. I used to watch every weekend. I knew all the drivers, A.J. Floyd, Kel Yarborough, all these different guys. And that's what I wanted to be. Well, my dream got stepped on when I was 11 years old.
Uh-oh. How?
Well, growing up on the south side of Chicago, you don't see a lot of stock car racers, okay? So, you really...
Especially not black.
No. Well, you know what? I remember Wendell Scott, because Richard Pryor played the movie, and I love that movie. And he showed me, I'm like, I could be Wendell Scott.
Yes. Representation.
But my dream got crushed. You're in school, and the teacher asked, hey, what you want to be? I want to be a race car driver. And the teacher kind of looked at me like, oh, okay.
So what do you really want to be?
Yeah, well, they didn't, it wasn't squashed like, like I'm crazy, but that look, you knew you'll never do it. And I just remember like
he don't get it yet.
Well, he didn't get it, but at the same time.
No, the teacher's probably looking at you like, oh,
and that's exactly what and I felt like, then I'm like, wow. And then I started to look around like, I don't know anybody that's a stock car racer. I never, my dad, my parents don't know anybody. I'm like, this ain't gonna happen. My dream was killed. It was. Yeah. But I still want to race cars.
You still want to race cars?
Yes. I'm going to do it one day. But anyway, that's a whole other story. But
I believe you.
So that's my. So what's your introduction to DreamKillers as far?
Well, when I was thinking of DreamKillers, because there's so many different ways that you can take it. Because some people there's other people who can kill your dreams. But there's also what we don't talk about as much. There's a whole slew of things that you do to kill your own dreams.
Yes.
And so when that's the angle that I was originally thinking about when you brought the topic of DreamKillers. It's like, as a kid you might want to do something and you're like, oh, I want to be a race car driver.
Yep.
Someone says that's not realistic.
Yeah.
Get a job.
No, but in a sense I did kill my own dream because the teacher didn't say, he gave me the look, but he never just squashed.
You can't do it.
No, I wound up killing it myself.
How did you do that?
Because I felt like I could never do it at that point in my life.
Now, well, hold up. Don't be trying to speed past this.
Okay.
Whoa, wait a minute. When did you get to that point?
Well, like I said, that walk home after that, I started to think about, I don't know anyone that does this.
I don't know anyone that does this. So you immediately just dismissed the idea?
Well, I did, because I felt like, here's myself talking myself out of it, right? Where I'm in the city. I'm in a city that does not promote it. I'm like, I don't know anybody to do it. None of my friends even think about it. I didn't know where to start. I was like, so I'm like, I must be crazy then. I must be, I'm an outlier. I'm like, there's no support for this. And so bad that at that point I was ashamed to tell people that was my dream, because, and I think I was an adult before I told people that's what I wanted to do.
That's wild.
Yeah.
That's wild. I think what you did, what you said in that I hope, gets that I want to highlight a little bit is that limiting belief. Mm-hmm. That's a dream killer.
Yeah.
That's how we kill our own dreams.
Yeah. it is, you're right.
And I think we've touched on this before a little bit, but it's like, maybe God put something in your heart. Maybe it's something that is not necessarily anything that you've seen in your life, and it seems maybe like a far-reaching idea for you, like based on what you've done in the past. And then we kill that idea. We kill what God said because we don't see ourselves doing that thing. I don't think I'm able to do that. I'm not capable. I don't have the education
or whatever.
I have I don't have the financial backing to do this. How could I possibly?
There's no way
this could happen. And so we kill it, or we say things like, I'm too stupid, or I'm lazy, I'm dumb, I come from this background, so it could never be possible.
We'll come up with excuses. And you said the word limiting.
Yep.
Yeah, from that point, and even reflecting back on this now, you're pulling some things out of me I hadn't really examined about this. But yeah, I limited myself at that point. Now, granted, I was 11 years old, but the point though is that, I didn't stick with it. I didn't, fight through that to say, hey, how could I do this or stick with it? So I limited myself.
So in that situation, what was your immediate decision after that? Like after you decided this isn't for me, what did you do instead?
I left it alone, right? And the funny thing about it, I stopped watching he
done stopped
that. Yeah, because it was because I was like, hey, it's not realistic. So I stopped being a fan. And later on, probably because I was good in math in school, so my sister was like, hey, you should be an engineer. At the time she was dating a guy who was an engineer. He drove a nice car, so I'm like, yeah, I want to be an engineer. So, but the point though is I wound up saying, hey, I'm gonna be an engineer now. But that was just a replacement. That wasn't my dream. So going back, one element too is that sometimes we can replace our dream with second best or a forced choice or something
that seems a little more realistic.
Exactly, because the dream is too big for us to comprehend. And you said another key word too in that is that understanding that God has a purpose for us, and if that purpose is this big vision, which could be seen as a dream, He'll make it happen. But I wasn't mature enough, or I guess it wasn't clear to me at that time. Looking back, I see it, but that's why I say now I will race cars. I will.
No, that's just.
I'll be 80 years old, driving around the track. But I will.
I hope you do. Yeah. I really hope that
it's gonna happen. It's gonna happen.
It's just. Now you hit me a little bit with that because I thought because. Think about all of the. What do you want to be when you grow up? All of the wild ideas, all the crazy, I want to go to the moon. I want to
be president.
I want to be president of the United States. Think about if Lil Barack, someone was like, no. President,
and somebody probably told him that. Somebody probably told him that.
He probably heard that a lot as he grew up.
I'm sure he did.
But what if Little Barack in elementary school said, "I want to be the president of the United States"? The big teacher, maybe his favorite teacher, that's the one that's the worst. His favorite teacher comes up and says, "Actually, you probably want to be, some sort of like a mayor, possibly.
Yeah.
I wouldn't shoot for that because." It's just too out there.
Yeah.
It's just not realistic. You know what I mean?
Try to redirect you. Why don't you go into, why don't you be political science major?
Political science major.
Go teach. Be a teacher.
You're good at math.
Yeah.
Go be an engineer.
And you speak well. You know what? You could go into communication. Maybe journalism or something.
Right. It's almost like they're kind of on your side, but like.
They're not. They're not. Like you don't. Hey, there's no way in the world.
There's no way in the world you're doing that. So let's just try to figure out something that you can do.
Exactly.
Based on what I think you can do.
But you know what, Martell? I guess let's take this in another direction for a moment. How would you handle someone coming to you, because you're an athlete, right? And, or let's say someone coming to you and you've coaching them, let's say in track, and they're the slowest person. And they say, I want to be the fastest person in the world. How would you handle that?
So, you know, the crazy thing is I've actually come in contact with this before. I was telling my film, so I've got a film class, and one in like the last 6 weeks of the course, we made sure that there was a segment of time where we worked on like, it was like personal development type topics, but things that you're not going to get in high school. Okay. Some things that they're not going to be a class about. So we're going to have these conversations right here.
Gotcha.
And so one of those weeks we talked about purpose. Like we really went into it. Okay. And during that conversation, I was telling them about like your makeup. I was telling them about your passions and interests. Gotcha. And then always considering like who you are. And one of the kids, and then I was telling them like, I debunked completely Disney when they tell you, you can be anything you want to be. Whatever you set your mind to, you can achieve. And it's like,
wait, you go into these voices sometime, man. Were you trying to sound like Mickey Mouse there or something? I mean,
that's the blanket everyone at Disney.
Okay, all right, gotcha. Okay, all right, go ahead, Mr. Disney.
Like, you know, the whole idea, you can do anything that you set your mind to. Like, you can do anything you want to. Gotcha. And they try to tell you that as like support, like to lift yourself up. But the reality is we weren't meant to do everything. Correct. We're not built to do everything. Correct.
Everybody don't have the same talents.
Right. You 300 pounds and 4'4", and you think you're going to be the fastest on the planet. You have to understand that might not be in the cards.
That might not be your purpose. So, and I bring that up for this reason, is that because in that case, do we become dream killers? But I like what you said about the film class, because you said you try to help guide them so they can understand what their purpose is. So I'm going to answer this for you. I don't think you being a dream killer, but if someone on the outside looking into what we're saying is that every dream is not what I would say equul. And I think it has to start somewhere.
Look, I'm gonna tell you.
Okay, go.
I will kill that dream. Look, I will destroy that
dream killer right here.
Dream killer.
Dream killer right here. Dream killer right here.
You can make up all the phony, fantastically amazing dreams you want to. If they don't relate anything closely to what you are made of, then you chasing after something. Then I have to ask you why.
Okay.
Why do you want to be that? Why do you want to do that?
Okay, good point. So, and if that response is what do you look for in the response to kind of gauge whether, okay, they need to go forward with this or they need to scrap it? I mean, the 4'11", you know, just, yeah, okay, I got, that's obvious. Well, okay, but what do you look for in that response though?
So if a kid comes to me and he says, look, I want to be an astronaut. I want to go to the moon. I want to be the one who takes my family and we relocate and live on Mars.
Okay. All right.
Now I have to, because God does some really amazing things with us.
He does.
And so when you put something into your heart that's big, something that you were created for, something that you were made for, then the way that you are shaped, and when I say shaped, I mean your natural interests, your passions, your natural abilities, the skills, the things that you gravitate to naturally that other people might have to work even to get at your base level.
Your superpowers.
Your superpowers. These things factor into your direction. And so that big picture becomes, it might be unrealistic for your mom, your dad, some people who the people you told to, and they said that you can't do that thing. But when I look at that makeup and I see that passion, when I see how you are shaped, I see, you know what? This is a God thing. That might just be it. I can't tell you if that dream is going to happen or not. But what I can say is, you know what, you might want to go in that direction.
And you said it, and I want to make sure we focus on it a little bit. It really comes down to, is God the one giving you that dream? You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It really comes down to that in the end.
If it doesn't seem like that at all, it just like, oh, you just want a lot of money and you want a lot of females wanting you. That's why you want to go to the league. Okay, yeah, that's cool.
No, and the thing about it too, when I say God give you that dream too, and you're right, because you got people that don't know God, that have like crazy talents and they got dreams and they make it to the league, right?
I didn't say God one time in that film class, but everybody knew what I was talking about.
They did, and I guess what thing I'm getting at is that God gives us all talents and gifts.
Yep.
Whether we recognize He gave them to us or not, those talents and gifts will take us where, I guess, they will take us. I mean, if we have the talent to be, I guess, super like a computer mind, a genius, then you might be a neurosurgeon, or you might be a scientist, or whatever.
Yeah.
But that's the gift that God gave you.
Definitely. I mean, you work in your gifts, you're gonna see success from it.
So gifts and dreams, there's a definite correlation.
Yeah.
Because if your dreams are not aligned with the gifts and talents that you have or can obtain, you gotta have some foundation, right? If I don't know how to drive a car, I can never be a race car driver.
But you can learn to drive a car.
I could.
If you're blind. Now, wait a minute. We got to talk about it.
Well, but everybody's not a good driver, though, either. Everybody's not a good driver. I'm not naming no names.
You might be the worst on a regular residential road, but you might be the man on the course.
Maybe. But usually there's look, it's like this. You in the video and everything else. It's like somebody that just don't have an eye.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, they might try hard as I don't know what.
That picture is actually trash.
Yeah. They just don't have an eye for it, so they don't have that gift. But and so DreamKillers, talking about it first. So we started out talking about how my story, how really I got in the way of my dream. I killed my own dream. Mm-hmm. We didn't talk about people who kill our dreams for us. We did in a way in the beginning, and then we talked about how the talents got to align with the dream too.
Yeah. Bill Gates, as a kid, working in his gifts, builds Microsoft. Mm-hmm. Bill Gates trying to go to the NBA, you don't know about him.
No. I mean, I guess it's fair to say it would not work.
Think about it. It won't work.
It wouldn't work. I cannot see Bill Gates on the floor crossing somebody over. I can see him falling and tripping, but I can't see him. But yeah, and I guess dreams are important though too. And I'm gonna say this: it's important to have dreams.
Yeah.
Because when we don't have dreams, because dreams really becomes our purpose in a lot of ways. And I think about what you and I talk about a lot of times, and talking about where we see God taking what we're doing and taking like what you're doing, what I'm doing, and how we work together. It's out there. But at the same time, He's bringing the pieces together. Mm-hmm. The talent is there to get there. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, but if we're going to say we're going to your point, build a rocket to go to Mars, I don't think that's our dream.
That's definitely not my dream.
I don't think we got the talent. We might be too smart guys, but I don't think we're smart enough to build a rocket to go to Mars.
I think another thing about this whole thing is like you work in engineering at a car company. Mm-hmm. He wanted to be a race car driver. What God puts into people's hearts don't leave you. Mm-mm. It stays.
It do.
It definitely stays.
That's why I'm going to race cars one day. And I will say this just because my brother, who's my younger brother, and he just inspires me because he works computer programmer or computer science, whatever, I don't know what they call it now, but he races. He races in a series called Le Mans. They had it, and I'm so, because it's almost like I tell him like, you live in my dream, right? Mm-hmm. And I'm so proud of him. But he also encourages me because I'm like, okay, I might not do that racing, but I'm gonna race. I mean it. I don't care if I'm 80 years old. I'm gonna be sitting up in a car racing one day.
There are people right now listening to this podcast who knows that God put something in their heart a long time ago that they abandoned.
Yes.
That they are continuously convincing themselves it's not real.
Yep, you're right. And I abandoned that dream for a while, but I picked it back up. And to your point, God was like, why not?
It ain't never leave you.
No, and it was just suppressed. But I, you know, and whatever reason, I think the other part too, and we always make sure we put God at the center of all this. Everything we do is to glorify Him. So whatever dream God puts in our spirit, in our life, is to glorify Him. Somebody's watching. Just like my brother, I'm like, I watched him. I'm like, oh, okay, God showed me it's possible.
Yeah.
You know, it's, but I guess, you know, we spent a lot of time on, and I don't know what angle to come at this set though. Everyone has dreams, and we talk about the dream killers. How do we deal with the dream killers when it's someone else? Well, even when it's us, how do we deal with that?
Man, and in my experience, the deal. Okay, so I'll hit both of them. Dealing with the outside dream killers. In my experience, we have to use the so what principle.
Okay, all right, I like that. All right, okay. All right, go ahead.
We have to use the so what principle. If you haven't heard it, the so what principle.
Yeah.
It's when you take all of the opinions, right? You put them into a bucket and you throw that bucket, because so what?
Yes.
And so with that, now I understand it'll be much more difficult for the young person who's you know, living at home with the parents and they're telling you something. But after that point, if you are chasing after this dream, this belief that you know is in you deep, it's not something that you just, you know, you saw a commercial or something and you just want to do it just because it seems cool. This is something that you know is in your heart, and even if you've tried to do something else, this thing is still stuck with you.
Won't go away.
Go for it. There's no, and people my age, I feel like we always run into the whole realistic thing. Where it's like, oh man, I've wasted so much time, or maybe I should just go get a job or go get a degree or do whatever. But I'm so free from that kind of stuff that it's like, if I spend the next 5 years trying to build a business that doesn't work, I'm still really young in the grand scheme of things.
Oh yeah, but it's interesting. You say your age group and how, you know, being realistic. Well, think about my age group, and that same thing, really, but it's more, the cost is a little different, right? Right. So now the time to fix it, or, you know, let's say you're married, you got kids, so now you got more at risk. So you know, man, we can
it's
go
what you're carrying. It's the baggage, you know, like the things that you might not have accumulated, kids and a mortgage and all this thing by this time. Maybe.
But you know what, man? We gonna put a period on this, because we can go a whole another hour. We might have to revisit this and from a different angle. But I think the word is, hey, if you have a dream, go for it. But make sure God is the one that's giving you that purpose and that dream.
That's your ask.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's the advice, man. Anything else you got to add?
Man, your gifts will make room for you. Your gifts will make room for you. Check in with God and understand that He made you for the thing that He put into your heart. So it cannot not fail unless you stop it.
That's the truth. And when you see an 80-year-old man racing the car,
I'll be in the stands.
You scared to ride with me?
Oh, I thought you were racing.
I am racing. He's scared. Look, no, I might need a co-pilot.
Oh, I'm in there.
All right. we need to end this episode.
People, thanks for coming, and we hope to see y'all next week. This is the Today for Tomorrow podcast. My name is Marta.
I'm Pastor Rod.
We'll see y'all later. Peace.